This is the mayor of the airwaves, going into our 24th year.
Wow.
Because of nice folks like you that tune in daily. Thank you for embracing me, Vero Beach. And now we're being embraced nationally and internationally. We have listeners in Canada. We've had call-ins from London, England. And, of course, San Francisco. I don't know how anybody's listening to us at San Francisco because it's dark 30 when we're on the air out in San Francisco. Let's see, also Seattle, Washington, San Diego, Chicago, New York, and it just goes on and on and on. Upstate Florida on iHeartRadio, WAXE. So get the free app, put it on your phone, WAXE, and locally on 107.9 FM, 1370 AM. And, of course, rhettpalmer.com. Now, last year at this time, I was getting a massage. I walked into the massage room. My friend Kathy, I was feeling a little blue. I guess maybe the approach of Thanksgiving coming. How are you? Well, I'm a little... wine. Do you want some cheese with that? Anyway, so I don't have any children. My mom and dad, my brother's gone. All these people are dead that I love. It's sometimes it's very horrible, as you all know who have gone through it, and that's part of life. Whatever God's up to, it's his playground, it's his sandbox. But the phone rings and it's my niece. Now I didn't know that my brother had a child. Well, he had said he thought he had a child, but, it wasn't conclusive. Don't tell Mom, she'll be very upset. Yeah, because my mom would have adopted these kids. Well, anyway, so 10 years ago, after my brother's death, the phone rings, and it's my niece, and she's married. I never knew I had a niece. She's a 37-year-old woman. She has a child named Elijah, another child named Jonah, and she has a husband named Joel. And they fly out here. They rent a house on the beach a number of times. We fly over to Santa Monica. And anyway, it goes on and on. Now they're living in Portland, Washington. So anyway, she calls me and says, by the way, Uncle Rhett, the honorable name of Uncle Rhett, she says, Scott also had a son. And he is James Alfano. And James is on the line right now. James, how are you doing? Are you listening to the show or are you paying attention?
I am absolutely paying attention, Uncle Rhett. Good morning.
Good morning, and I'm already falling in love with you. You there's parts of you that look just like my brother. You have his chin, you have his nose, his lips. I think you have, but you don't have his blue eyes. You have Linda's brown eyes. You have my father's, your grandfather's curly hair, which skipped a generation because I wish I had gotten it, but. And my brother always tried to grow a beard, but he had spots that wouldn't grow on his face, and James is the same way. So he's got these mutton chops, and then they kind of disappear, and then it comes back out to a goatee. But and he has two beautiful sons named Jimmy, and Luke. And ironically, they're the exact same ages of Cece. Cece is the niece. Her sons, Elijah and Jonah. And so my brother, without knowing it, has 4 beautiful grandsons. They're all handsome. They're all intelligent. They're all mannerly, considerate, thoughtful. I mean, really, just the creme de la creme, the top 99%. They really are. And it's not just because I'm the uncle, No. Of course not. But and of course, then there's Liz. How has this been for Liz? You all of a sudden putting all your attentions on your new family, because women want to be and should be the number one, even above the children in the household for a successful marriage. Women want love, men want respect. Essentially, we all want love and respect, but women want the love. How has she been able to deal with you giving so much attention to your new siblings, of which you have 3 of, right?
Yes.
And you have your mom, your birth mom. Now you guys don't like the term of birth mom, right? Why don't you like the term birth mom?
Because it's labeling, just like Unwed is labeling. It's our function. It was created first of all by Pearl S. Buck, who coined it in 1955. She adopted children, and then Marietta Spencer, who was an adoption worker, took that term and ran with it. It's created by the industry to keep us in our place. It's demeaning. It's not reality-based. Our function was not simply to give birth. We feel like the Handmaid's Tale women, like Offred the character in The Handmaid's Tale. I mean, our function was not to give birth and then provide a baby for somebody else.
I understand that. Now, I do want to know this: if your perception is misconstrued, I don't know. I know that I was very, very, very close to my mom. I was told that I was a mama's boy, and there were people in my life, even to this day, that tell me I was too close to my mom. So when I hear birth mom, to me, it elevates a woman in my mind to a higher position. But that doesn't.
They don't call your mother a birth mother.
But that doesn't mean it's right, because I agree with you guys in this. Language is very powerful. The people might poo-poo this, but let me tell you something. Language is very important. Look, you might say it's an accident. How come Abram became Abraham? How come Sarai, God renamed Sarah? How come Saul became Paul? How come Rhett? You know what the name Rhett means? Okay, I'm named Rhett. What do I do for a living, kids? Talk. Okay, Rhett. What's Rhett? Rhetoric? Rhetorical. So we don't think that language has power, not only in the physical world but in the spiritual world. You've got another thing coming. I have a book on names, and it is astounding and shocking. Is it not, Beverly?
Oh, that's extraordinary.
The attributes that the research has been done on names. So I agree. I'm going to defer to you guys, even though my first is like, oh boy, another politically correct, but you know something.
I got a quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
How many times in your life have you referred to your mother as your birth mother?
Never.
Never. And that's the point. We shouldn't have to differentiate. These are.
Well, then how do you do it? Hold on. Let's say your mom is still alive, the mom that raised you, and now you've met your mom, but you called her adoptive mom. See, that brings her down a notch, doesn't it? She's your mom.
Well, okay.
She is an adoptive mother, just like mothers who create life are natural mothers. And in fact, the adoption literature always referred to us as natural mothers.
Oh, natural. So you want the word natural instead of birth.
We create life, we're natural mothers. We're all mothers. Okay. All who create life are mothers. To say birth mother is very marginalizing, and it's very oppressive. And it's a term used to hurt.
But does natural mother hurt you?
No, because that's what I am, a natural mother. I'm a mother.
But hold on a second. That's the same as birth, though.
No.
No, it's not the same as birth.
I mean, I never even introduced my mom as my natural mother.
No, they just went from unwed mother to birth mother, and it was coined by the industry, and it was coined for a specific purpose. And that was to demean and keep us in our place. That's what marginalizing is. Anytime you use a label, it's the way society separates you from the rest of society. It's kind of a subtle punishment.
Well, hold on. Now, I lost my dad in a violent car accident the day before my 5th birthday. So when I had a dad who died a few years ago, Benjamin, who's not my blood relative, let me tell you something. I love him eternally, no question about it, forever and ever. Amen. Now I would refer to him as, my. I would always talk about my dad. I would say my biological father. Now, is that a pejorative term?
No, we prefer it not to be used. He's your natural father.
Yeah, but I'm that child, and I get to choose, and I don't mind biological father because I never got to know him. So there's a little bit of a coldness to it, or a science coldness, and that is because I never knew the guy. I mean, the day before my 5th birthday, I don't really. I love him as I'm supposed to, I guess, as a birth dad, a biological dad.
Well, you can refer to him as you wish, and we say that when we talk to anybody online in support groups, is they can call their natural mother and father anything they like. But when you're using that term and you're interacting with other people online, and they're exiled mothers whose only mistake, if you will, was to have a baby and not be married, and was punished for life for that supposed sin and being a legal mother, it's very hurtful.
Okay, let's say years ago they had called you, though, natural moms. Then would you be anti-natural mother?
No, absolutely not.
Well, sure, it would take on a whole different meaning if they had coined it, though.
No, because that's what we are. We're natural mothers.
Because basically you are a natural mother. To me,
by God and nature, we are natural mothers.
Or maybe I'm just missing this. I don't understand.
We're both mothers, but by God and nature, we're natural mothers.
I just don't
and
understand.
We're reclaiming our right to our motherhood. That it was taken away from us when they took our babies.
Okay, well, I got to chew on this. I don't get it. As a guy or whatever who I am, I don't know. I don't see it, but I can understand where you attach this emotion to this, but I'm not sure that it's how legitimate it is, but that's not for me to judge. That's up for you guys. But we only have so much time left today, so I want to make sure you two get to discuss the subjects you want to. Where would you guys like to go next with this? Now, first of all, I do want people to know if you ever have adopted, you want to adopt, if you know somebody who has been adopted or has adopted someone, please have them tune into this broadcast. And don't forget, it'll replay tomorrow in its entirety from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. again. MP3s of the broadcast are available. They're complimentary to those who are participating, but for those on the outside who would like a copy of it, Mr. B, contact Mr. B at verosvoice.com, and there's a $10 fee. Now, Karen Wilson-Buterbaugh has written the book, The Baby Scoop Era. And it's Unwed Mothers. The secondary title is Unwed Mothers, Infant Adoption, Forced Surrender. And so Karen has lived all these years. You were forced as a 17-year-old. But do you mind if I ask you how old you are now?
I would just turn 69 in August.
69? I thought you were about my age or younger, but you're 60. I'm 63. Okay, so 69, and you were forced to surrender your child. By who?
Yes.
By who?
I'm sorry?
Who forced you?
Okay. This was done through manipulation, brainwashing techniques, thought reform methods, whereby you prime the person who is away from their support systems to be dependent upon you. Mm-hmm. And then they start calling your baby in your womb the baby, and they don't provide you any information about what your rights are.
Oh, they
or
don't.
That any public assistance is out there for you to use to keep your baby, nor was it ever voiced, do you want to keep your baby?
Has that changed? Have these things changed, though, now, or no?
I think somewhat, yes, in the way that society is structured today, and also because we have so much information available on TV and the Internet. And I think also the legal profession has recognized the need to have lawyers for the mother and hopefully also a mother for the baby to protect their rights, which we did not have. Mm-hmm. But also because they've now gone to open adoption, from closed adoptions during the baby scoop era to open adoptions. I hear from too many mothers today who were groomed to surrender their babies. It seems to be that these open adoptions close soon after the paper is signed by the mother, and in most states they do not have a legal right to enforce any agreements made because it's not really a contract, it's an agreement. So it's just a new ploy for the industry to get what it wants for the people that want it. And it's heartbreaking because a lot of these mothers come to us and they're young and they're heartbroken that they can't see their baby, they can't visit their baby, they're blocked out entirely from their child's life, and the agreements are not respected by the adopters with the mother. And I feel that they're still very much being groomed to surrender through these so-called adoption counselors.
Yep.
And there's at least one man in the year 2000 said when he's talking to adoption counselors, he said to counsel the mother against her desire to keep her child, to keep her baby. So there's still grooming, there's still coercion, there's still pressure, and I think the only thing that's really changed is a different society that we live in, but the young pregnant females are still just as naive in many ways about, their ability to parent their child. And I think that infant adoption should be, if it can be, it should be reformed. Although I don't think that's really going to work very well because nobody's ever policed the guidelines by the Children's Bureau and the Child Welfare League of America. But I would like to see nobody enter a female unmarried woman's pregnancy with a vested interest in her baby. That includes adoption workers and potential adoptive parents. I would like to see them not to be allowed to talk to this mother until she has gone through her pregnancy, her labor, her delivery, and 6 weeks postpartum. And then if she decides she can't parent, after she has been provided with the social assistance through these social workers that she deserves by law,
yeah.
If she then approaches an adoption agency, then that is considered not a coerced adoption, because infant adoption as it's practiced today is inherently coercive.
Very much so.
Okay, James. James, I do want you to learn. You go ahead and speak, James, but when you get a chance, Beverly wants to ask James a question.
James,
hold on. Let him finish what he was going to say first. All right.
Go ahead.
What were you going to say, James, in response?
Another point about adoption reform is which is very important. Many of us have a name that we're given at birth. We're named by our natural mothers. That should never be changed. Our history shouldn't be erased. We shouldn't be given other birth certificates. And to the point of coercion and how it is today versus how it was back in the baby scoop era, it's different. I'm not going to dispute that, and I've tried to my best to educate. Obviously, I'm not a young expected mother, nor was I a young mother in the baby scoop era. But I've tried to learn and understand, and in my opinion, there's still a high level of coercion. It's just evolved.
Okay, now you're also
the best interest of the baby has become the problem, and it should be the best interest of the baby and the mother.
Okay, you also become a commodity. What does a child go for these days, James?
White babies, and it's kind of the sad fact of reflecting on society that there's different amounts of money placed on different humans.
Really?
But white babies command between $35,000 and $70,000.
Okay, and black babies?
I don't know. I know they're different, and they're not
Hispanic babies.
I know there's different values. I don't know what they command.
May I interject that I have an article, it's in a magazine called Talk Magazine, and the cover story on it is how blonde, blue-eyed baby girls go for $250,000.
Wow.
And that's from 1999.
Wow.
And it's really not surprising that soon after that article ran, the magazine went defunct.
Oh.
And I have a copy of it in my house.
Really?
$250,000 for a blonde, blue-eyed baby girl. And even during the baby scoop era, I have an article where they talked about babies as white as ivory snow and blonde baby girls and blue eyes and this whole thing about, get your perfect baby.
Yeah, and I understand they would lie to the adoptive family sometimes. Like, so in other words, if a young infertile Irish couple wanted a nice Irish baby, they would take a baby with mixed ethnicity and lie to this Irish couple. Here's your Irish baby.
Right. Well, corruption, power and corruption. Any way to place a baby brings in the money. And Market Data Enterprises, I think back in the year 2000, they published a report that the adoption industry profits by $1.4 billion a year.
That's more than the record industry, man. I think
$1.4 billion.
Yeah. Now
this is a huge industry.
Huge. Listen, we're out of time for the official 2 hours. I'm going to ask you guys if you can stay on for a final half hour live on the radio. Is that possible?
Yes, I can stay till 10:30.
And James?
I can.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, but for those we're leaving when it replays, Karen Wilson-Buterbaugh. Her name of her book is The Baby Scoop Era. Now, you can get on Amazon.com, The Baby Scoop, and it's unwed mothers, infant adoption, forced surrender. Who came up with this baby scoop concept?
You know, it's a good question. I'm really not sure where it came from. I've tried desperately to find out the source for that term, and I've been unable to.
Okay, but you didn't make it up. That's the point.
No, I didn't create that term,
and
but
baby
I
scoop,
do
what does baby,
trademark
what
for it.
What does baby scoop mean?
Well, they came in and scooped up all those babies from that era of time.
Okay, the baby scoop era, unwed mothers, infant adoption, forced surrender. Thank you for coming on our broadcast today. For those who continue listening live, we'll be right back on the other side of the news. Today's broadcast brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Fort Pierce. Yes, you can get a full warranty guarantee for a pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, just as if you bought a new one. Now, you'll save tens of thousands of dollars. You get a pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, but you will have bumper to bumper as if you had a new Mercedes-Benz. Outrageous! You get to save tens of thousands of dollars, and you get them, and you can additionally get it not only for a year, but you can pay a little extra and get it for another 2 years. Mercedes-Benz of Fort Pierce. Do me a favor, tell them the mayor of the airwaves sent you. Okay, all right, thanks.